Hi, everyone. This is Jaime Ortega, Vice President of Outfilm Connecticut, and we are here with some of the directors of some of the shorts that you just saw from our Gay Shorts program. And so welcome to our first virtual film festival. I'm so glad, we have everyone here. Thank you guys for joining us. I think we can, for this Q&A, we can just start off with introducing yourself, the film that you directed, and a brief synopsis of the film, and then we can go around. I have some questions for you guys, and we can go from there. So, Marco, if you want to go ahead and start.
Yeah, hi. I'm Marco van Bergen. I'm from the Netherlands, and I directed and wrote South of Heaven. It's a film about a guy in a religious environment who comes home to celebrate his birthday at his parents' house, and he finds his boyfriend there, who came over as a surprise, and of course then his family learns his darkest secrets.
And Marco, you're in the Netherlands right now, right?
Yeah, I'm in the Netherlands right now, and it's evening over here, and but it's fine.
Yeah, what time is it over there?
It's just over 9 o'clock over here.
Okay, all right, so 6 hours. It's 3 o'clock over here. All right, cool. And Aleksei.
Hello, my name is Aleksei, and I'm director of One More Please. It's a short set in a bar. So a young guy goes to the bar basically to get drunk on a Valentine's Day, and he have no one to call over, and he meets a stranger in a bar, and we see what happens.
Yeah. And Gary.
Hi, I'm Gary Jaffe. I'm coming to you from Brooklyn, and I'm the writer and director of, I've got the giant poster here, Next Level Shit, with Ben Bauer, whose giant face I have here. And Ben plays a gay perfectionist who's about to have his big third date with Mr. Right, and he wants to be perfectly clean in every way you can imagine, but his obsessive preparations backfire, sending the relationship spiraling into a whole new level of intimacy. So it's sort of a scatological rom-com about vulnerability.
Yeah. All right. So just kind of in general, for all of you guys, this has been a crazy year for everyone, as you guys know, in terms of, COVID-19 and how film festivals are happening now. Like, how has the festival circuit been for you guys in terms of, getting your films out there to be shown to an audience? Are there pros? Are there cons? Do you find that you're reaching a wider audience? What's going on?
Should I start?
Yeah, this is for everyone. Anyone can.
Yeah. So I mean, I think there are some benefits in it because the festivals can fit more shorts now than ever, and there's no limits like of how many films you can select. So we get probably even more selections than ever with this going on, all that, and it's kind of convenient for us. We can attend all the screenings basically and all the Q&As like this one. It's so nice just being at home and not have to travel anywhere to talk to the audience.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the benefits for us. This is the first year that we've had, I can't remember how many, but we've had almost double the number of shorts programs. We've been able to show the most shorts this year.
Yeah, and I can piggyback on the Q&A element because with Next Level Shit and also with my newest short, which premiered completely on the virtual circuit, I just feel like I've been able to talk to more festivals and more audiences from Miami to Edmonton that I, of course, wouldn't have been able to talk to if I hadn't been able to get there in person. So it weirdly feels almost busier, just in the sense of like, oh, right, today we're talking to Connecticut, and that's really, really great. And plus the fact that like these get recorded, they get put on YouTube, they're therefore like more accessible to more people. That's really exciting too. Plus the geo-blocking element that a festival in Austin where I'm from originally, can be accessed by anyone in Texas, makes me really hopeful for, people who aren't in liberal meccas like Austin, but maybe out in Midland or Odessa or wherever. They can tune in too, and that could be really transformative for a queer kid who's not in the middle of nowhere. I really do miss the intimacy of live audiences, though, particularly with a comedy. And I was lucky enough that Next Level Shit started its run before COVID, so I could hear the screams of joy and laughter and pain that my movie inflicts on people. But that's the joyful communal experience of movie watching in general, and that is sad to miss out on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do found that a lot of festivals that South Heaven was selected for decided to just cancel everything, and that made it a lot harder to show it to people. But indeed, I can piggyback on what you guys are saying, that it's easier to attend a screening the digital way. But it's been for my film, it's been a pretty tough blow, seeing a lot of the festivals that it was selected for, like around 70% that it was selected for, decided to just scrap the entire festival for this year, which is also understandable. But I'm hoping that later this year some more digital festivals will happen and will select, because I do think it's a very good alternative as opposed to classical festival going.
Yeah. So Marco, since I got you on there, I want to talk a little bit about your film South of Heaven. I loved it. I loved the opening and closing scenes. I thought the subject matter is very important. It's something I think that a lot of us in the LGBTQ community can relate to and have to work through, myself included. And I'm just about what some of your influences in wanting to make this film were, and was this a personal project for you? How much of you is in this film?
Well, there is a decent amount of me in this film, but it's more or less based on people that I have that I either know or have known around me that have been through a struggle like this. And I myself come from a pretty liberal family, pretty liberal parents. So I was always like, I can be whoever I want to be. So there's no problem. And then I met some guys, some friends that were in Amsterdam in gay bars, and they were partying, and then they were like, no, I can only be this part of me over here, and then I have to go home and be a conservative churchgoer because my dad doesn't know. And that kind of fascinated me. And then I met a guy who actually had a boyfriend who he never introduced to his parents, and they were together for almost 2 years already. And well, I found that pretty sad, actually. and that always kind of stuck with me, that story. And I later on met another guy who also had really conservative parents, and that also didn't know about his sexual orientation. I was like, okay, but this is the Netherlands. This is 2016 when that happened. That's nothing that's going on here. We have gay marriage, we have liberal rights, we have everything. Why is this a thing? And then I went into the subject matter, and it just it shocked me how influential the church is in some areas of the country, and how much power they have in people's homes, in people's families, regarding marriage, regarding sexuality, regarding who you love. And based on all the stories I heard and the friends that I had, I decided this is really a story that I want to tell, and that's where this film actually came from and came to be.
Yeah. How did you come up with the title?
Oh man, how did I come up with the title? That's a good one. It's a song from Slayer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of become it means South of Heaven references hell. So
Okay.
that's why I thought it to be a pretty fitting title for this film, because with the subject matter of what does religion, what does the church condemn as right or wrong,
Yeah.
I thought it would be a pretty ambiguous, fitting title for a story like this.
Yeah. It was. I was curious about the title because I wasn't sure. South of Heaven meant here on Earth, or if it meant hell. And so I'm glad you clarified that, and I'm glad you got the inspiration from a song.
Yeah, from Slayer.
I'll definitely have to check it out.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice song if you like some more rough music.
Yeah, cool. What's next for you? Do you have any projects lined up?
Well, I have been I always said this story is the story that I want to tell. Because it's been around for quite a long time, and I made it myself. I funded it myself, and I really wanted to do this. And then I decided to just take a little break from writing and directing, and I have recently been focusing on managing and being a colorist at one of the 5 leading post-production houses in the Netherlands. So that's basically what I'm doing currently. And besides that, I'm keeping my eyes open for a new story, a new project, something that really sticks with me. And if I find that, and if I don't find that, I'm hoping to develop South of Heaven into a feature length film, because I do think that it's a story that deserves to be told on a bigger scale.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. All right, Aleksei, I have some questions for you.
Sure.
So one more, please. I've watched it a couple times, and every time I watch it, I'm like, was he drinking real alcohol? Why wasn't he staggering around?
Obviously not. They would be drunk in a second take, That's it.
Yeah.
We're done for the day.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your process, from, the idea to completion?
So the story was actually originally was not set in the bar. So it was supposed to be in a grocery store, and guys would compete for goods and rising on shopping carts in parallel aisles, but we couldn't find a grocery store that would allow us to do that, so we just changed it to a bar basically, and the whole competition went like more like a kind of just dating thing, like they were just sending each other drinks, and this was kind of the approach to this. It took me like, I don't know, I was trying to find a change that would propel the story, and it took me like maybe a week to transfer to a bar. And it was kind of hard to shoot because we only had this bar for 6 hours. We had to shoot the whole thing that happens in the whole scene in the bar first, and then also go outside and shoot like all the how he goes through this sidewalk full of people and sees different couples around and stuff. So it's kind of hard because the weather was not welcoming at all. So,
where did you shoot? Did you shoot in Chicago?
Yes, I shoot in Chicago, and the Chicago is called Windy City, because all the wind that comes from the lake here and it's really severe in the winter. The weather is not welcoming at all. Like, you don't want to stay outside for a long time. So the whole crew and the actor had to like go back and forth to the cafe to get like a little bit heated, you know.
Yeah. And so you shot it in the wintertime?
Yes, it was last February.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. And are you working on anything next?
Yeah, I'm actually working on a shot that I was supposed to shoot this May, but it was, postponed because of the COVID. It's a story about a gay immigrant who wants to marry his partner here in the United States, and they have the whole family on the partner's side coming, like around almost 100 people, and he cannot invite anyone from his family because they don't even know he's gay.
Okay.
So this is kind of a story about how you come out to your family who is not going to accept it,
Yeah. For one more, please. Where did you find the actors? How did you go through a whole casting process? And tell me a little bit about that, about what that was like.
It was my normal casting process. I was looking for some actors who obviously look great and can play with eyes, can do a lot of with eyes just without any single word of dialogue, because this was a challenge for me to tell a story with no words, basically.
Yeah.
Many times film gets explanatory, and all the dialogue just destroy the visuality of this. I'm not saying that One More Please is so much visual. It's just more of a characters who interact in a natural way, and we just enjoy this game with them.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the aspects of your film that I really liked, was that there wasn't really any dialogue at all, and that everything was communicated non-verbally. So yeah, like, kudos for that. That was really cool. Because there's not a lot of films that we see come through that communicate in that way, or have the characters communicate in that way. So that was different, and that was cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool. All right, Gary, next level shit. So yeah, I mean, this was cool. Like this film. I think one of the things about all of your guys' films, and what we're for our program this year, is like, we've been able to show all of these films. Your guys' films are like the top rated ones, and so kudos to you guys and on all the hard work that you guys did, and we're really glad that we're able to showcase all of your guys' films. This one, I think, combined in this particular program, I think really lightens the mood in this particular program, and it's about intimacy, and it's about something that we all have to deal with, but are afraid to talk about, right? Why did you decide to make a short about this topic?
Well, I'm predisposed as a writer to go dramatic, and I really wanted to challenge myself to do something that I actually find quite dramatic and intimate, but do it in sort of a Trojan horse comedy way. And the inspiration came when back in December 2013. I was coming back from Williamsburg to Manhattan, because I was still staying with my aunt on her couch then, and I had what we'll call a gastrointestinal emergency, and I didn't quite make it. So, and I was sitting there in my aunt's bathroom, just feeling totally vulnerable, having shat my pants. As like a grown-ass adult, I thought, wow, like this is a very dramatic space that I've gotten to here through a fairly hilarious, like, sweating race to the finish kind of way. Yeah. I wonder if there's a gay short film here. And so I kind of multiplied that experience by a lot of the over-the-top anxiety that I know anyone who like does butt stuff for sex like will often like feel, and like things that I've heard from friends or experienced myself or whatever. Like, there's just a ton of anxiety about this, and it's compounded by porn making like a butt seem like something that it's not, and unrealistic body images. And so I wrapped this all up into this little package that was going to like take this gay perfectionist to his ultimate nightmare, and through that discover that love comes from the shit and not fight it. Yeah. That's the inspiration.
I think it was cool because for that exact reason. It's like something that like that's happens, shit happens. So and then somebody actually said that in the film. And so the cast I thought was perfect. I thought everybody was perfectly cast. How did you find everyone?
So I met Ben at the Rhode Island International Film Festival, one state over from Connecticut, back in 2017 when my first short film Sunset was playing with his film Something New, and I was already percolating on Next Level Shit, and I knew who my protagonist was. And then meeting Ben, who kind of epitomizes like the perfect gay, like it was like click. And what's more, there's like a line, Something New, if you haven't seen it, is very, very charming. And there's this one little moment that I make fun of Ben for, because the character, like someone looks at the character like, you look terrible. And it cuts to Ben looking perfect. And so I was like, I want to push you on. Like, I want to take you to a more vulnerable place. And I pitched him that night on a Providence rooftop on this film. And he was like, this is my nightmare. I will join. So that's interesting. And then Ben knew Daniel, who plays Chris. And Chris is, as played by Daniel, is just like the warmest, most charming, lovely person ever. And really from the first take we did of Daniel, where he opens the door and smiles at Ben having come in, we were all like, swoon. And then everyone else I knew from like the New York theater scene, including Justin Sams, Noel Franco, and Becca Schlossberg, and Ryan Trout, who are the denizens of the party. They were all just friends. And I told them, I was like, hey, can you come join me on this day in this like silly movie? And they were like, yes.
Oh, God. Yeah, everyone was great. And actually, I think we showed Something New actually last year.
I actually think that like Next Level Shit is a spiritual successor to it, because they're both queer rom-coms, and Ben himself says that he likes thinking of himself as the gay Meg Ryan, and I deliberately like name check Sleepless in Seattle so that audiences kind of know that this is a rom-com and that this isn't going to be an abusive movie. Like, we're going to hit the bad thing and then move out of it, because ultimately it's the love connection that we're interested in. But there is sort of, with both movies, a like, gay thinks he knows what he's doing, gay gets humiliated by his own actions, gay realizes he can let go a little bit and let it be. So that's
What are you working on next?
So I have a new short film that's a proof of concept for a feature that's on the circuit right now, and that short film is called Last Summer with Uncle Ira. The feature is Last Summer with Ira, and this, in a total 180 from what we're doing right now, is a love letter to my Uncle Barry, who died of AIDS when I was 3. And so this movie imagines what it would have been like if I had been 16 in the summer of '91 when he died, and actually had like one summer to really get to know him before having to say goodbye. So that short is rolling out right now, and then just found out that the feature is going to be one of the Outfest Screenwriting Lab 2020 fellow projects. So that's going to happen in the next couple weeks or months, and hopefully roll forward to maybe a 2021 shoot, COVID and financing and everything dependent. But it's, it seems to be rolling forward. So all we can do is pray.
Yeah, great. And then just one last question for all of you guys. What inspires you, just like a very general question, what inspires you guys to make art on film, and to showcase your films on, at queer festivals and what have you? Anyone can.
So I can jump in while I'm sort of talking. After I made enough like films and plays and musicals, I sort of stared at them and I was like, what's the common theme here? And I distilled it down into a mission statement, which is very formal of me, but it's to foster, gently or not, a more nuanced self-acceptance in the queer community and beyond. I think Next Level Shit is the or not in gently. But a more nuanced self-acceptance is really important to me, because so many queer stories end up coming out, which is so important. It's so important.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in like, well, what next? What other acts of like self-acceptance do we have to do? For Taylor, as played by Ben in Next Level Shit, he has to accept his body, and he has to accept what comes with his body, and what means having a body that does sex things in the body. Like, what does that really mean? For the new one, it's how do I accept myself vis-a-vis a person who has made me who I am, and his legacy, and having to contend with that. So like, how do we push self-acceptance even further so that we can, I guess, like in a profound way, spread more love to more people? And queer film festivals are just like heaven for that, because, you know, these are our audiences, this is what we're talking about, this is where the conversation needs to happen. And even the toughest, most brutal, and, you know, tough to watch queer films, like, still I find have at their core like that love, that like this is part of our experience and we need to acknowledge this too, especially as made by queer filmmakers. Straight people telling abusive queer stories, I'm not a fan of. But I mean, we'll see. But queers talking about queers, it's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's you know, Sound of Heaven is it can be seen as number 3 in a row of 3 short gay themed films that I made. 2 I made actually as school assignments during film school, and I've always said actually that Sound of Heaven is the film that I should have made when I graduated film school. So it's in that way it's a film about all of them actually go about acceptance, and Sound of Heaven is the highest ranking kind of acceptance when you've accepted yourself, but you need the guys and the people around you to accept you. And my previous 2 films were about firstly accepting yourself, then yourself accepting others, and then the third one would be getting accepted. So for me, that's kind of the way that it ties in with my previous work. And yeah, what inspires me to make art, to tell stories, I just love to tell stories. And I love movies, so what better way to combine those passions than by making movies? And I've been doing it since I was like 9 years old, so I don't know anything else. I have to make movies.
I believe for me personally, I get inspiration from the audiences that are still like, you know, there are so many queer movies now coming out, but still there are so many themes, so many topics, and so many styles not covered by anyone. You know, like when each time I decide to make a movie, I make it because I want something that I would love to see, you know what I mean? So I'm just trying to create it first for myself, but also for someone who I know, and my friends in my community, you know, like, and just cover some experiences that people know, people face every time, and it's something common, you know, like there are so many things that we are talking about, like coming out to family or self-acceptance, that are like just, you know, like eternal. It's like evergreen, you know, like, and we can make as many movies as we can, and it still will be not enough, you know. So creating for yourself first, but also for the audiences that are starving actually for the content. And even now, like when all the content gets more and more diverse, we need more content. We need more movies to fit everyone's needs, you know, everyone's starvation.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I like the shopping cart. The one, I think you got to do that. I think you still got to do that, even though you can.
You know, we got shot previews for that. We went to Target actually and shot a previous video with the phones, you know, smartphones, but it never got made actually. So it's.
We want to see it. So
idea, yeah.
Make it. Send it to us.
Thank you. I will definitely.
All right. Thank you guys so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. We're honored to be showing your guys' short films at at Outfilm CT's film festival. So thank you so much for joining us. And if you guys make anything else in the future, definitely send it our way.
Thank you so much for having us.
Bye, everyone.
It's a pleasure.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.